So then, the month in review. Let me know your thoughts on this month. I mean, fixtures wise, results wise, we knew it was going to be a tough month with some top teams to play in the month. Forest Green, we knew that were probably going to be the toughest game that we had to play, and we ended up winning that one. And then we went and beat Hartlepool, back-to-back wins for the first time since August. A lot of positives in terms of performance. I think performances we have improved, good passing play, kept possession well, and we've controlled, dictated the game against the opposition, which is something we haven't really seen this season. Chaotic football's gone out the window, and I think more positives than negatives, which is a good thing. Obviously, February were a tough month for us. We results wise and performance wise under Derek Adams, it were quite grim. Mark Truman tried to step it up the football and didn't really work. It wasn't really balanced, was it? Really, when we look at it, it was a bit too attacking, and then I think as the game got on, the players got knackered, and I think that's what we've been seeing this month as well. When we've been playing this high tempo game, been passing out from the back, tried playing good football, the players have got a bit tired, and when you have a switch of manager and a switch in tempo, switch of tactics, your players can get tired, get fatigued, and I think that's what we saw on Saturday, where the players just were flat on their feet. They were just flat because of all the winning that they've been doing. Um, but in terms of results, a 2-1 defeat to Swindon. That was Mark Hughes' second game in charge. His first game was a 2-0 defeat to Mansfield. He came out of the Swindon game with uh, more positives than negatives, a lot more positives. It was a good game of football. We give away a draw which could have even been a win by a stupid penalty, in which, concentration-wise, it just wasn't there from Bass, and unfortunately we ended up losing that game to a Jack Payne penalty. And then we picked up with a win against Forest Green, then took that win into the Hartlepool away game and won. It's just a shame that we haven't been as good as we have been away from home this season, and took it into our home games, because this month we haven't got a home win. It's not the only month that we've gone in, finished it, and said we could have done a lot more at home. After this month, it has took us to one of the worst home teams in the league, which isn't good enough. But also this month, it's took us to one of the best away teams. So when you look at it, positives but also negatives, especially at home. Why are we losing games at home? If you want to delve into it, then you've got two factors that it could be. It could be the players. Can they play with big expectations in front of a massive stadium? And if they can't, then get rid of them. We need to start looking at this. We need to start bringing in players who are used to expectation, used to a big fan base, and building off that, because we're getting in players who have, no disrespect to them, but they are playing for big expectation clubs, or clubs who have that big stadium. And I think that's where we're going wrong. We're signing players who might not thrive off the fan base, the roar of the crowd. Or is it the fact that the way we've been playing at home? Have we been playing like we should be away from home, where we've been a bit pragmatic, a bit safe? Have we been a bit defensive at home? And I think that could be another factor too, especially under Derek Adams. We didn't seem to go at the opposition at home, and the opposition took advantage of that, and we were playing like the away team too many times, and I think it's a mixture of both, and I think that's why we haven't been good enough at home. Players who aren't used to big expectations, and the manager who's playing boring, pragmatic, defensive football and not going at teams, and then that's leading to a fan base, and the fans are getting agitated at the way we've been playing, and then the players are getting scared, and that could be, I think that's the factor, a big balance of both. Anyway, enough of that waffle. In terms of Mark Hughes, and he's coming, and it looks like he's trying to play a bit of a diamond. I don't know, and it does seem like that. Jamie Walker seemed to be a bit of a second striker to Andy Cook on Saturday. Didn't do terrific. He wasn't terrific up there. I think would have been better playing Lavery up there with Cook. I don't know why he didn't continue doing that after that Swindon game, but it does seem like he wants Elliot Watt as that sitting defensive midfielder, and then Callum Cook as that more of a number 10 creating. And we are very narrow. If we play with wingers, and we have been playing with natural wingers, they've been playing as more central midfielders, but they have been given the licence to drift wide if the needs be. especially when we've been playing Gilead. He's been playing as more of a central midfielder who can drift right if he needs to. Um, but we have been relying on the fullbacks getting forward and getting the crosses into the box and overlapping the central midfielders slash wingers. And I think that could be a problem why Andy Cook's isolated. Because we're trying to get players crammed in and around him, he actually needs a service from the wing backs to overlap and get the crosses in. But the problem is they're not doing it enough, and I think that's why when you look at Hendry and you look at Fold, you do look at them and think they're doing all right. Defensively, one's a bit vulnerable than the other, and attacking wise, they both need to be a bit better. And I think that's why Andy Cook's not getting the service that he needs, and that's why he's had a pretty poor month. 1 goal in 5 when the team scored 6 goals in 5 isn't good enough for your main striker. And when you look at last month, we were talking about Andy Cook not having a good month and not having a good few months and having a ridiculous goal drought. He hadn't kicked on since that goal against Forest Green, and you'd expect him to with a striker, but is it his fault that he isn't getting those sitters, those brilliant chances that he can take and score? Because that goal against Forest Green was just a counter-attack where the keeper went up for him to do a tapping and he took his time and to compose. He ain't getting those chances where you say, right, that has to be a goal. He's had a few this season and he hasn't took a few. And he's took others. But that's where you get with a League 2 striker, inconsistency. So in terms of underperformance, Cook's the first one that comes to mind. Folds and Henry, like I said, they've had steady months, but they need to be a 7 out of 10 every match, not a 6 out of 10. I think that's what helps us. If they go up to the 7, that means they're doing better going forward and defensively. And I think that can really elevate us in our games. And I think Evans has had quite an underwhelming month, considered how he started it against Swindon, Forest Green. But then recently he seems a bit flat, bit fatigued. He seems to be coming off. He puts effort in, but I think when you saw Pereira and Vernon come on, you saw how much of a different impact they have to a game where they can take on a player and not be scared to move the ball forward. And Pereira just a joy to watch on Saturday. And Vernon scored the previous Saturday. So those two players offer something different to an Evans. And yeah, it's a shame he didn't quite kick on. And he has slowed down in the last few games, which I've noticed. In terms of standouts, I think Songo, Paudie O'Connor, even Alex Bass has had a better month than February, and how he started the month were pretty poor against Swindon, but he's actually took the criticism against Swindon. He's moved on. We've had 3 clean sheets in 5, which is pretty good for us. And Mark Hughes said earlier this week that we've worked on the defence. We've got the defence stable, quite secure and sorted. Now we need to get the attack sorted out, get the goals flooding in. And I think that's one of the problems, that we aren't scoring as many goals as we like, but defensively have been quite solid. Elliot Watt, we've noticed to see this month that when he's playing, we do look better on the ball, and that's what he does offer. He ain't the best at tackling, and he ain't like a typical defensive midfielder, especially in League 2. He ain't going to put a foot in, and he ain't going to show that Gary Jones where he's got that grit and that aggressiveness in his play. But he will keep the ball moving, and he will retain the ball a lot better than many, like a Songo would in that position. But my player of the month this season's Callum Cook. Player of the month this month, sorry, is Callum Cook. He's got a goal and 2 assists this month, which obviously is good. It's good going, but he does need to kick on Saturday against Port Vale. He went missing, and last month this is what we highlighted. We highlighted that Daly and Callum Cook are going missing too much, and when they aren't missing, the team play a lot better. But when they go missing in those games, that's when you notice that we haven't had as good as a game as we'd like. When that number 10 is on form, we have a much better game, and that's what we've seen this month and the season as a whole. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the month. Frustrating month in a way. It's a shame we couldn't kick on after those couple of wins, but a draw at the end of it against Newport. We've got a tough month ahead with Tranmere, Northampton, Sutton and another top team to play. It is going to be a tough month, but then we have got a couple of easier games with Carlisle, Colchester, and Scunthorpe, games that we'd hope we would win. Have a good one.